All right, we're back on Rounding the Bases, Extra Innings with Neysa Page-Lieberman. 4 final questions I said in the end of the audio portion of the interview, and I hope everybody will check that out if you haven't already. If you're just catching us here on YouTube, make sure you head over to Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts and check out this episode. But I mentioned kickboxing and something about your twins who are a little bit older than when you referenced them being born, punching you in the stomach. Tell me about this kickboxing.
Yes, this is part of my training, Joel. I was telling my husband when I was, you said, what's a fun fact? And I had other things in my mind. He was like, do you want to tell people how you actually let our children punch you in the stomach? And I was like, oh, okay. Is that weird? So I went into like a exercise overload during the lockdown because I was like, this is how I'm going to manage stress and being stuck in the house, right? And so I started doing a lot of kickboxing. And of course, they were 8, then now 10-year-old twins were like, we are in on this kickboxing. Of
course they do.
And so we were doing all kinds of stuff. And then one day I probably got punched in the stomach or something. And I was like, wait, I have to be ready for this. And then that became this thing of like, how hard could they punch me in the stomach before I, would fall to the ground or something. I don't know. It never gets that bad, but it's like, they're always like, let's see how tight your core is today, Mom. So that's our family fitness regime.
Yeah. It's a great motivation for working on the core though.
Thank you.
Right?
It is. I do not want to get sucker punched. Yes.
No. And the kids, they're going to get old enough at a certain point where you say, oh, okay, let's that's enough. You're getting too strong now. Of course, at that point, they're going to want to go and do their own thing because they'll be teenagers and all that.
Yeah, and they'll probably tower over me. So yeah, we're going to have to shift this. I get to punch them in the stomach at some point,
It's only fair. Okay. Hopefully you're not punching your husband in the stomach, but my second question pertains to him. If you are, that's fine.
He won't let me. No, he doesn't. He's not in on that.
Okay, but you did mention in the audio interview that it really is a marriage and a family with a lot of theater background. But he truly is in theater right now too. Tell us about that. That has to be really cool. I'm sure for him, it sounds like he's got a great job. I'll let you explain it. But also for you to sort of have at least one foot kind of in that door in terms of your life and his life.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you asked about him because he is the reason we're in Kansas City. We came from Chicago to Kansas City because he took the position of artistic director at Kansas City Rep. And so a few months after he came down, I closed up shop in Chicago and came down with our kids. And, it's been an extraordinary opportunity for him. He loves this work. He loves the community here. And of course, 6 months after he got here, COVID hit. And so that's been something, and as we all know, any, performance space, was kind of the first to close. And maybe, in baseball, it's just like crowds of people. It took a while to come back. Right. And so I will say this on his behalf, he really expertly steered the ship through that moment. And I think everybody in that community believes that the theater's even stronger now as a result of that. But he is very much like me in that he is, his work is also at the intersection of social justice. And like you, Joel, he's always looking for that story, right? Like what is the story that will touch people? We may know facts and histories, but what's the personal story that we're not hearing? And so that really drives and motivates his work. And so we get to share that. We work in different mediums. He's producing theater and I'm producing visual art and public art. But we really see eye to eye on that and really help each other kind of collaborate on those things. And so that's been really fun. He still won't cast me. I don't know. I can't believe it, just because I have no professional training and haven't, done a show since I was 18. He still refuses to cast me. I think it's horrible, but that's I guess he has a reputation to live up to.
Hopefully he's watching this right now, right?
He better be.
I mean,
And he's going to go, oh, I just noticed that star quality that I haven't picked up on in the last 20 years.
Just figured it out right now. I better stay out of this one because I haven't met him yet. And, I mean, there's a certain point where a guy's got to back up a guy here a little bit. So I'll duck out of this one. And then if anybody's in trouble, just tell the kids that they can punch him. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Super cool, though, too. And that gives us a little chance for a shout out to the KC rep as well, which is a great spot. So that's awesome. Third question, as we round the bases, and then the last one I want to reserve for something about monuments to movements. But with all of your art background, and and I'm not a art connoisseur or anything like that, but certainly enjoy going to an art museum, when on vacation or wherever it is, and been to the Art Institute of Chicago a million times. I mean, as a kid, to me, it was like they put a Bears jersey on the on the line up front of there. You notice these little things, and that was that spot. But then you start going as a kid, and it's beautiful there. My question to you, having spent all the time as a lecturer there, is do you have a favorite spot around the world, an art institution or a museum that just moved you unlike any other?
Oh my goodness, that's so hard for me.
I know. You can rattle off a few if you want. I'm guessing that you've been to a lot.
I've been to a lot of institutions, but I'm trying to think of what I can give you that would be like a little off the beaten path. Like I really like going to, when I'm traveling, to go to maybe a neighborhood that has become an artistic center or something like that. Or, just like something really different than, the white cube, right? So let me think. Oh God, Joel, this is so hard.
I know, it's like asking somebody, what's your favorite, like when people ask me, who's your favorite athlete to cover? It's like, well, I mean, I can give you a million and different reasons why for each one.
I know. Let's see. I'm trying to think, like, where have I been recently?
Well, let's hone in on this. It sounds like you're talking not necessarily about.
I'm sorry, I'm like stumped. No, isn't that funny?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because your mind kind of went to almost like the movement, the monuments to movements. It's not necessarily a specific piece of art. It's not necessarily a specific art institute. Maybe it's a neighborhood. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a cool mural that moved you. Maybe it was just a vibe in an area. Because as you were saying that, I started thinking, one of my favorite things to do when I'm on the road, oftentimes I don't necessarily have time working at nights. And then, I've got some of my morning and early afternoon where I don't necessarily go to a whole lot of museums unless I've got an off day. So I just wander neighborhoods and I enjoy that aspect. Anyway, I'll throw that. I was stalling a little bit for you.
No, it's good. I mean, I was thinking about like, some of the programs that are really exciting to me are like mural programs or something like that. I was thinking, so we were in Spain and, we went to like some of the institutions and they're great and everything. But then when you're walking through the streets and you see, people kind of, taking an area for themselves for an expression or something. We were in Valencia, and that city is really known for street art. And so there's a lot of murals that are authorized to be there. And so a building or the city or something would authorize that. And then there's a lot of people that just say, no, I'm going to put my own thing up, and because that city embraces it, people don't necessarily like whitewash it right away. So for instance, like there's an active bull ring in Valencia, and it's outlawed in a lot of different places in Spain, but there's an active bull ring there. And so you've got like the monument to the bullfighter, right? And that's like right in front. And that's like what we're supposed to see. And then you turn the corner and you see a mural to the anti what is it? I can't remember the name in Spanish, but basically the anti-bullfighting movement. And then people have done, have painted images and stories to show kind of the other side of what they see as like the cruelty or a dark part of their history. And then it's funny, right near there's like some big box stores, selling like fast fashion and stuff like that. So you've got the big box stores and you walk a little further down And then you see a huge mural that I can only imagine was unauthorized, showing like, the behind the scenes, child labor and like the sweatshop of the people that produced this. And so that kind of thing to me is just like kind of the most exciting artistic experience you can have, where you see like the state sanctioned statue, right? And everybody's taking pictures of it. And then you see the commentary, and then you see the commercial side of the city, and then you see the artist commentary. And that kind of conversation is so rich. And oftentimes like, a lot of this stuff is happening in the cloak of darkness, right? Because they're not really supposed to put that artwork there, but then nobody takes it down either. And so you don't necessarily know who did it, when they did it. And then, people comment on top of each other. So you'll sometimes see like a whole conversation around these topics. And so for me, that's like, it's like, yes, I went to all the museums, but then it was like these unexpected artistic moments. That's the stuff I took a million photographs of,
Yeah. I'm glad we got there, and in a pretty organic way too, because that's more fun than just this is my favorite, and it's great. I mean, I think that it still speaks to the curiosity that we talked about in the audio version of the podcast. All right, my final question as we round the bases with Neysa Page-Lieberman, and this is the walk-off. I want to talk about monuments to movements, because on the website monumentstomovements.org. There's a whole section about collaboration, and I mean, I know we're all better when we collaborate, but I've got to think that for what you're doing, everything is going to be a collaboration, and I've got to think that some of the fun of this is stumbling into some of those collaborations and seeing where they go and building these relationships. How important is that for what you're doing? Because there's so many potential storytelling opportunities out there that don't happen without that collaboration.
It's everything, I often see my job as like an organizer and a connector, right? And a supporter. And so, like oftentimes I'm not in the business of telling my own story or my own heritage. Sometimes pieces of that will get in there, but usually I'm working with people who, I don't necessarily share their history or their heritage. And so finding the right collaborators so that artist, if we're talking about specifically an artist I'm supporting, that, she has her, the right sources, the right support, the right, fabricators, the right funders, the right assistants, and feels empowered and safe to tell a story and to take necessary risks. It's all about finding those right people. Even that artist is going to be a collaborator with me. And so you're also kind of figuring out, are we the right fit? Am I the right curator to support your vision? And if that's the case, then you start bringing in all the other people. Lots of times artists already have all their collaborators in mind too. And they say, I've got these people that I think we should really bring in to tell this story. Any art project, but especially public art project, has so many people involved, right? Because when you're in a public space and a lot of people are going to have opinions about what's there, you have to kind of increase that pool of people that may have a say in that project and in the final vision for it.
Well, I know a lot of good collaborations in the works and many more to come. You could see about so many of them on the website if you check that out, or just everything that M2M is doing, monumentstomovements.org. Again, I'll ask everybody or recommend that you check out the audio version of this podcast, a lot more explanation about what they are doing. So you can check that out on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Neysa, again, thank you so much. Really enjoyed doing this with you.
Thank you, Joel. Good luck with your podcast. I love it. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.